Scarbo Performance SVF1 First Drive Review. A hot rodder's take on vintage F1. Who wouldn't want an LS-powered vintage F1 track car? Thermal, California. Some turn their nose to the sky as soon as they hear the term replica. They only care for originals, cars that are inevitably destined to collect dust in someone's impeccably clean garage, preserved for posterity, and never revved in anger or given the beans in fear of fouling up an investment. Joe Scarbo thinks this mere existence is a boring one, that cars are meant to be driven hard, period. That's the outlook that spurred him to create the SVF1, an ass-kicking track weapon so good, and so demanding, our body quit well before we wanted to hand back the keys. Once you realize what the Scarbo Performance SVF1 actually is, you'll get it. The open-wheeled, open-cockpit retro racer is modeled after a 1967 Ferrari F312 Formula One car, and many, justifiably, consider its sultry, minimalist lines to be among the prettiest F1 designs. However, the guts under its beautifully hand-beaten aluminum exterior are more SoCal hot rodder than devout Tifosi replica. Made even clearer that this track beast resides in the former is what powers it, a red, white, and blue-blooded GM-sourced, 430 horsepower LS1 V8. You can't get much more American than that. Our date with the SVF1 occurred at the Thermal Club near Palm Springs, an automotive oasis plopped squarely in the middle of an agricultural hub. The freshly finished facility is just a few hours outside of Los Angeles. But unlike the better-known Willow Springs, the track surface here is absolutely pristine, on top of which there was a fine mist of sand, a condition which kept both us and the SVF1 on our tiptoes. To provide the perfect soundtrack for our track adventure, Scarbo married the LS1's fly-by-wire throttle system with 8 velocity stacks, providing an otherworldly induction yowl. This is punctuated by a guttural exhaust featuring an 8-into-1 collector with a 3-inch exit. Upon startup, the SVF1 sends shivers through your body, and like chain lightning it propagates through the bodies of anyone within 60 feet. Grunt and stamina are required to shift the transaxle 5-speed manual transmission from a 986 generation Porsche Boxster mated up to the LS1. No flappy paddles or dual clutches here. You get into the SVF1 by placing your feet onto the softly padded seat and sliding your butt in between its fuel tank, which straddle your hips and posterior. Clip into the 5-point harness and you're eyeball level with the truly massive Avon race spec slicks. It isn't until you're strapped in, priming the fuel pump with a mechanical toggle, and looking out through your helmet's thin visor that you begin to realize the raw effort you're about to experience. As we headed toward one of Thermal's smaller configurations, we don't have much time to consider the SVF1's $112,500 price tag, our inexperience with this track, or the fact that the SVF1's only traction control was the heat in the slicks in the restraint of our right race boot. Pit exit comes before we can dwell on it, and then we're onto the wind-swept track.